And good morning, everyone. This is November the 1st, 2022, for our second episode of our new format of Talk About It. So let's talk about it. Um, we're going to be, for this test run of our new format, we're just going to be picking random news and just going through it and give my thoughts on it. And also, we're going to pick one or two stories that I was interested in over the past couple days or whatnot, and give my thoughts on those as well. While we do this, we're going to try to read as much as we can on these stories. If it's like 10 pages long, 20 pages long, we might just try to briefly go over it and maybe have a whole episode for that particular story on its own, since it's a long read. If it's a short story to read, one or two pages, we'll just read it all and give the thoughts on it. Again, we're going to be looking for the facts of these stories. So if there's, whatever, we're going to, anything crazy, we're going to try to dig into it and find out. So let's see what we can find online, people. Let's go look for it. Because as we all know, for this past week, especially the weekend, last 2 weeks, I guess you could say, it's been a lot of noise going on the news, a lot of craziness going on. So it's exciting time and crazy times too. It's not always just bad; it's good stuff going on too, people. So let's look into this stuff. And I believe there's going to be some. What you type in? But anyways, while we're looking, we're just going to be rambling, right? So let's type in news and let's just ramble. I believe this week there's going to be some craziness going on. Exactly what? I'm not too sure, but I'm sure this week there's going to be something popping off. There just has to be. I mean, with the what's the word I'm looking for? With the um, midterms coming up next week, I would assume crazy stories are going to be coming out this week. We see this stuff going on with accusations of being thrown around here there. What we would expect. Now we've had some tragedies or some bad incidents. Nancy Pelosi's been her husband's been attacked. Um, in Arizona, some stuff's been going on with a couple of candidates there. It's craziness stuff going on. But let's look into this, people. Let's let's just search around. Okay, I went to Google, typed in news, NEWS, just typed that in, basically nothing too crazy. First story we have: alleged Paul Pelosi attacker David DePapi charged by federal, you know, uh, bureau of investigation. Then we have Russia announces wider evacuation of occupied southern Ukraine. Then we have absolutely no evidence. Police FBI affidavit debunk salacious conspiracy about, and I guess they have a couple stories. We'll click on this, see what's popping off on that. We have Powerball prize soars to 1.2 billion after no winners found Monday. Word is out, we might have to take a road trip, people. We might have to take a road trip to figure out what's going on there in well, we doesn't say where, KSBW, whatever state, wherever Wisconsin. Wisconsin lottery. I seen that in the photo on the ticket is Wisconsin. We'll see what's going on there. Let's see what else we have. Do we want to go any further, people? We want to stop here. It's 5:39 in the morning. You know what? Let's see what Russia's talking about on that evacuation occupied southern Ukraine. Now let's see what else we have. You know what? I think we're good right there. Let's read these stories, see what we find, see if there's anything we can figure out and solve here on Talk About It. Let's look into it. But again, this week it's going to be crazy, people. It's going to be crazy. You're going to love it. This week's going to be crazy. Um, let's see. Who are the crazies? Am I crazy? Possibly. So let's dig into this. What was I just talking about? Don't worry about it. We'll find out who the crazies are very soon. The crazies are everywhere, people. They are everywhere. So let's look into. Let's get serious now. At least 13 shot, including 3 children, in Chicago drive-by shooting on Halloween. Police say up to 2 shooters opened fire in an attack that was over in a matter of seconds. Police said no deaths have been reported, but 3 children were wounded. Uh, let's just see what they have to say. And let's bring this up on the let's bring this up. All right, let's see if we can bring this up. All right, let's not just hold this to ourselves. Let's share the wealth on this particular story right here. Let's bring this up. All right, I'm gonna bring it over to you people just so you can see it as well as I can. And this story right here is from NBC News. I'm on NBCNews.com, the /news page. So yeah, let's all right, all right. So we're just going to slide on over to that. All right, went to the wrong spot. Here we go. All righty. So just follow along with me. At least 13 shot, including 3 children, in Chicago drive-by shooting on Halloween, police say. I'm not from Chicago, but I have seen David Brown, if that's his name, I believe. Let me make sure. I want to make sure. Yeah, Superintendent David Brown. I've seen David Brown, which is this police officer here. He's always, in the press, giving updates and details on crime that happened in Chicago. But let's go further. No deaths were reported in connection with the shooting, so that's great. That's all. So we started off with a sign of relief. At least not as of yet, no deaths were reported. The condition of those wounded ranged from critical to not life-threatening. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown said at a news conference an additional person was struck by a vehicle while attempting to escape the scene, he said. So, not sure if there's like a intended target or somebody just came by just started shooting randomly. But obviously there's chaos, people trying to get away from the scene. Police had earlier said as many as 14 people were shot, but said in a later statement that 13 had been shot. The violence at the intersection of California Avenue and Polk Street at around 9:30 p.m. in the area of Garfield Park was partially captured on surveillance video, police said. We know it's a drive-by. We know it happens in just a few seconds, Brown said. It begins and then it's over. About 3 seconds, the car is pulling out after driving by and shooting randomly, really into the crowd. So, yeah, just randomly into the crowd. Now, there could have been like 1 or 2 people in that crowd that they were actually targeting, and since anybody was near them, they would just what is the word I'm looking for? They were just casualties, not casualties, but I can't think of the word right now. But you know what I'm trying to say. It's like when you're in war and you have people who get shot accidentally, the part of it. That's what they were to them, pretty much. So, let's go further. My vocab is not working in my head right now. He said that a motive was unknown. No offender has been identified, and police are not aware of any conflicts on that corner, although detectives will be conducting interviews. As of earlier Tuesday morning, police said no arrests have been made in connection with the incident as detectives continue to investigate. I'm not sure the area. Don't know the area. Don't know Chicago. Don't think I've ever been. Well, besides the layovers, but that doesn't really count. Doesn't count in my eyes. Mainly because a lot of times you go to an airport city, sometimes not even in the city. Sometimes it's just far away from the actual city, anyways. But anyways, the 3 children injured were 3 years old, 11 and 13. Brown said all the other victims were adults. He said there could be 2 shooters. Brown said, although he stressed the information is preliminary. So it's an early story. I'm sure in the next couple of days we will know more about it, especially as the investigation goes further. So I don't know if you all will be able to hear the audio clip, but we'll do some of that later. So for this incident, drive-by shooting, I'm guessing it was probably somebody in that crowd that was definitely the main suspect that they were, or not suspect, but the main person that they were targeting. Collateral. They were just collateral. Everybody else was just collateral. You're near the suspect. and you are collateral. So for this one, we will be how can I say this? This is an alert, people. This is stuff like this should not be happening. We all know this. But this type of story is something that happens a lot. Um, Maybe not to this magnitude with that many people, but you know, there's a lot of shootings a lot of times where 3 or 4 people get shot. Unfortunately, a lot of times, you know, somebody does pass away. But you know, those type of things happen. Um, Crazy stuff happens. People, you know, you got evil people in this world, so those kind of things happen, and let's hopefully they can do better in that investigation, figure out what happened, who did it, and let's get some people arrested, right? At least figure out, get some leads, right? But let's go on to the next story. Now, oh, I was wondering why I wasn't moving because I don't have a video playing. But anyways, so yeah, so the next story on the list is, well, we have, let's bring it back up. All right. So that one was 13 shot, 3 children. So 10 adults and 3 children were shot in Chicago. You know, it's bad that happens. Next story we're going to move to though is, and again we're going to keep updated on certain stories. That's going to be one of them, because I'm sure they'll have updates on those. Bolsonaro hasn't conceded to Lula. Is he following the Trump playbook? He could be following Trump's playbook. He could be following Stacey Abrams' playbook. He could be following Hillary's playbook. He could be following. He could be following. I mean, Trump was the latest one, so he could be following Trump's playbook. You know, we got to go with the latest. Trump's the latest, so you know we could be going with that. Let's see what we got, and I'm sure we've all known about this. This is the Washington Post, so I can only read like the first 2 paragraphs. So that's all we're going to read. I'm not, you know, I don't have a membership with this. Brazil at its president-elect Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the winner of Sunday's election, woke up Monday to a question familiar to Americans: will the loser concede? In the tightest presidential election in Brazil history, following a bitterly fought campaign that deepened divisions in Latin America's largest nation, President Jair Bolsonaro has remained out of public view since 8 p.m. Sunday, when the Superior Electoral Court declared Lula the winner of the second and final round. Bolsonaro, a close ally of former President Donald Trump, known for his fierce, fiery rhetoric and incendiary missives on social media, has opted for a response that for him has been extremely uncommon: silence. So I don't know much about Brazil's what's going on down there. We'll probably start digging into it. So I might put this on the list for things to dig into further, to look into further. So this is obviously something that we will have to do another episode for on its own, on itself. We will pick a couple articles from a couple news stations and look into it a little bit to see what they all say and compare them and figure out what makes the most sense. What do we have? Why, who did what, when, and where? We don't know, but we'll see how this goes when we get to that point. Let's move on to the next story. We have Powerball prize. I believe it was Wisconsin. Where you at, money? Where you at, money? Where you at? So we have Powerball prizes soars to 1.2 billion. Billion. After no winners found. I'm here, baby. I'm here. I'm the Powerball winner. You ain't know? I'll be there tomorrow, pick up the cash, and I'll be back here on the news again. Let's go. So, man, that's a lot of money. There were no big treats from Halloween night Powerball drawing, as none of the tickets sold matched all 6 numbers. You gotta be kidding me, man. The lack of a winner means the next drawing Wednesday night will be for a massive 1.2 bill jack. The winning numbers drawn Monday were white balls 13, 19, 36, 39, 59. Oh man, the red Powerball 13. The increased jackpot will be the fourth largest in U.S. history. The biggest prize was 1.586 billion Powerball jackpot won by 3 ticket holders in 2016. Where am I, Jack? I need to start buying these tickets, baby. I need to start buying it. I ain't gonna get addicted to buying it, but I'm gonna start buying me some. I said this last month. I should have drove up. I'm gonna go to every state and buy a ticket. Massive lottery jackpots have become more common in recent years because they teasing me. They teasing me out here. They need to stop teasing me. As lottery officials have adjusted game rules and ticket prices to pump up the top prizes. I think, whatever, let's go. The most recent tweet came in August where Powerball officials added an additional drawing day, going from 2 weeks to a week to 3 to build larger prizes and boost sales, which means I have more of a chance to win. So I might pull out a couple bucks to go to the shops, to go to the markets and, put down a couple slabs of dollar bills and get a couple of them tickets and see how my winnings start to come towards me. That's what I'm gonna start. Annuity pay what? Paid over 29 years. Oh man, let me see. We good. Winners almost always opt for cash, which for Wednesday night drawing will be an estimated 596 million. Yeah, I'll take that. Cause oh, what happened? So people, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash flow. No one has hit all 6 numbers since August 3rd, meaning there have now been 38 consecutive draws without a jackpot winner. A testament to how slim the odds are winning the jackpot. 1 in 292.2 million. Dang. So if you win that, you just a lucky son of a gun. Gosh dang it. How do you do it, winners? Man, Powerball is played in 45 states as well as Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's crazy, people. So wait a minute. So is the Powerball, is that like anybody in the U.S. can play it? Or I got to be in Wisconsin to win it? How does this work? I need to look this up. We're going to keep the story up because I'm going to do a little investigation, people. This going to be like depending on a couple stories, this going to be number 3 in line to check out. We got to figure this out, people. Come with me. We're going to investigate this and figure this out. We're going to get that jackpot, all right? If not this one, the next billion one, all right? We're going to get some of that. All right, what we got now? So, we got some interesting news here. Oh, no, turn that off. We don't want to get no kind of YouTube strikes on here. We don't do that over here. I don't even know if my audio is passing through my browser yet. So this new format I have is a new system built I have. It's some new visual stuff I'm working with, so we're playing with it. You see, you got the globe spinning in circles. It's just a video, but you know how we go. Russia announces wider evacuation of occupied southern Ukraine. So what we're about to do right now, people, I'm going to read this right here. And well, first of all, this Ukraine thing is coming up on a year. What is this? This is November now. And we have, when did they actually invade? Was it February, March this year? I believe it was. February, March last year. And honestly, it's been a good minute. You know, that's for sure. It has been a good minute. With that being said, though, who knows how long it's going to last. I didn't actually think it's going to be this long. I thought it was either going to be over with, they was going to come to some kind of agreement, whatnot, and that was going to be that. But it's been a good minute already. So hopefully it does end soon, because we know about I'm not too deep into reading about this war, but I've been seeing stories about how it's about to be a cold winter for some countries in Europe because of the gas issue and things of that nature. So hopefully that all gets situated and doesn't get too crazy over that. at least for the food and things of that nature. But you never know, really. You really just don't ever really know. But so that's just that. I just wanted to say that. But so yeah, Russia ordered civilians to leave a sliver of Ukraine along the eastern bank of the Dnipro River, a major extension of an evacuation order that Kyiv says amounts to the forced depopulation of occupied territory. So, let's look up this real quick. We're going to figure this out, all right? Get your butt back in there. Nope. That's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. So, I guess it's just so we're on Reuters right now. This is where the story's coming from. We're gonna pop it up on the screen in a second. I do like to check before I bring videos up, make sure there's not any copyright stuff on the screen. If it's like from another, we have like ads and stuff like that pop up. So I like to make sure no ads are gonna mystically pop up with some music, and also I like to make sure everything's nice and you can easily see it viewable. Sometimes I'm trying to look at the other screen, but give me 1 second. I'm going to pop this up on the screen so you can read along. And also I want to look up where this location is. So they're saying it's in the Dnipro River, the eastern bank of the Dnipro River. So we'll see exactly how that particular part, of Ukraine, how actually big of a space that is. All right, so let's get over there. All right. All right. So here we have it. And Russia had previously ordered civilians out of a pocket it controls on the west bank of the river, where Ukrainian forces have been advancing to capture the city of Kherson. Russian installed officials said on Tuesday they were now extending that order to a 15-kilometer, 9-mile buffer zone along the east bank as well. So, looks like it's two territories. I don't know if the region of the Dnipro River is pretty much close to this. Well, yeah, okay, no, it's the western bank. So you got the east bank of the Dnipro River, and you have the west bank of that river. So same river, but just different, portions of it. So what we're gonna do is look up this river and see where this river is at, if we can find them. Let's give it a go right here. No. What are you doing? Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go, people. What do we have? Let's get out the way. What? No. Oh, there we go. I don't know what map this is. All right. So, geography here. Here we go, people. So we got. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom. Let's go on and zoom out. Zoom. Who got the keys to the beat? Wait, no. Zimmer. Yeah, I forgot how to sing it. Anyways, so we got Kazakhstan over here to the right, to the east. We got Iraq here to the south. We have Turkey in the middle. Then we have Ukraine right here, and then the river. Nice bank over here. So this is where they're trying to evacuate people from, or exile, whatever you want to call it, from this area here. So that's where they're at right now. Ukraine says the evacuations include forced deportations from occupied territory, a war crime. Russia, which claims to have annexed the area, says it is taking civilians to safety because of a threat Ukraine might use unconventional weapons. So this probably goes from the report we had on the 28th of October, where you had Russia saying that Ukraine was going to be using dirty bombs and of course we had our intelligence and our administration here in the USA. There's or and some news organization saying there's no evidence to that. They're making it up. Now they're trying to use it as an excuse so they can have an excuse to then use their own weapons of terror. And the Russian, of course, says no, this is true. And Russia says also came out. Putin came out also said that he nuclear weapons are off the table. They're not going to use them at all. So that's a sign of relief, I guess you can say, if any. um, so that they came out. But anyway, so I'm just taking this right here and I'm tying it to that, saying, okay, so this probably has a little bit of, I'm sure this has something to do with that. Speaking of the, how can I say it? The dirty bomb rumors, right? I'm sure this has something to do with that in that area. Because look at what they say. Ukraine says the evacuations include forced deportations from occupied territory, a war crime. Russia, which claims to have annexed the area, says it is taking civilians to safety because of a threat Ukraine might use unconventional weapons. Now that also could mean like Wikipedia has unconventional weapon, improvised weapon, an object that was not designed to be used as a weapon but can be put to that use, usually in self-defense, otherwise on somebody unarmed, like I'm picking up a chair and I'm beating you with it. Weapon of mass destruction. There's a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, or any other weapon that can kill and bring significant harm to numerous individuals for you. What they meant here was unconventional weapons. A dirty bomb is a conventional weapon, but has unconventional dirtiness, unconventional, filthy, unconventional tactics attached to that weapon that's conventional. Like a bomb could be conventional because we use it now everywhere, or something that can explode, but then attaching radiation material onto the bomb creates a dirty bomb, which turns it into an unconventional weapon. Russia was trying to say, or the Kyiv was trying to say, Ukraine was going to be using a dirty bomb. Of course, Ukraine denies it, and other forces deny it, and they're trying to say Russia is using that excuse so they can use their nuclear weapons. So I'm thinking this has something to do with why he's evacuating people from that area, for that particular story. So let's keep an eye on these messages when they say unconventional weapons. That pretty much means, in this sense, and with these powers, they mean nuclear, or some type of form of that, or some very dangerous chemical weapon or something like that. Is what they're referring to. Due to the possibility of the use of prohibited methods of war by the Ukrainian regime, as well as information that Kyiv is preparing a massive missile strike on the, let's get this, Kakhovka hydroelectric station, there is an immediate danger of the Kherson region being flooded. Vladimir Saldo, Russian-installed head of occupied Kherson province, said in a video message. So, I'm guessing this hydroelectric station is sort of like a dam, where they got the water, and this sort of like needs a lot of water to maybe help keep it stable or help operate it. And if it gets flooded, if they create a missile strike on it, it's going to create a lot of holes and stuff malfunctioning, which can cause it to overflow and flood and cause big issues. So let's actually look at a hydroelectric station, see how one actually looks like, to see exactly what a hydroelectric generator converts this mechanical energy into electrical. The operation generator, yeah, it's like a dam. Okay, yeah, perfect. So I don't know what kind of dam this is, if it's like a massive one or a small one. I'm guessing it's a pretty big one. Given the situation, I have decided to expand the evacuation zone by 15 kilometers from Dnipro. He said the decision will make it possible to create a layered defense in order to repel Ukrainian attacks and protect civilians. Moscow has accused Kyiv of planning to use a so-called dirty bomb. See, this is it, people. I tell you this. A dirty bomb to spread radiation or to blow up a dam to flood towns and villages in Kherson province. Kiev says accusations it would use such tactics on its own territory are absurd, but that Russia might be planning such actions itself to blame Ukraine. Woo, that's a mouthful. Like I said, yeah, this is from the story of the 28 pretty much. So now he's taking it a step further to evacuate people from that area. Because I guess, so we'll talk about this at the end of this article. How long is this? Like I said, if it's too long, we're just going to create a whole story for this. Ooh, just a couple pages? I think we can finish this one. Besides, we have this is the last story anyways before we go over the stories that I want to go over, and then that's it for this morning. Um, just make sure we're still good. Okay, we're still good. Make sure we're still recording. I'd have been mad. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much exactly what's going on. Like they're saying they're going to do it. Ukraine saying no, they're using it as an excuse so they can use a dirty bomb or whatever. The mouth of the wide Dnieper River has become one of the most consequential front lines in the war in recent weeks, with Ukrainian forces advancing to expel Russian troops from their only pocket on the West Bank. Russia has thousands of troops there and has been trying to reinforce the area. Ukraine's advance has slowed in recent days, with commanders citing weather and tougher terrain. Saldo, the Russian imposed occupation leader for the province, identified 7 towns on the East Bank that would now be evacuated, comprising the main populated settlements along that such of the river. So they're just pretty much trying to, we got the leaders out there, the high-ranking officers and whatnot, and figuring out. I guess based on intelligence and just observation, and their own investigations, and asking around. They're figuring out best places, to get people out of. This is probably most likely to be affected area, this affected area, and figuring out who to get out those areas. The European Union accused Moscow on Tuesday of launching a new program to illegally conscript men in Crimea, which Russia seized in 2014 to fight in its forces. The EU statement said Moscow was disproportionately conscripting members of Crimea's indigenous Tatar minority to fight in its war. Who's the indigenous? Let's look this up. Who are the Crimea Tatars? Let's see. Crimea Tatar number 240,000, 2000 census. That does not include additional Tatars that was wiped out. Muslim. Okay, so predominantly Muslim, they have been resident of the region for centuries. Crimea Tatars have a long struggle to achieve formal status as indigenous people. While Russia still does not recognize their claim, in March 2014, the Ukrainian parliament finally adopted a resolution designating Crimean Tatars as indigenous people. However, Ukraine has subsequently failed to adopt the national legislation on indigenous peoples that was promised to Crimean Tatars, even after a draft bill. Even a draft bill recognizing the non-numerous peoples of Crimea, such as Crimean Karaites and Krimkoks, as indigenous people, fell short of being passed by the Ukrainian parliament in 2015. Their vulnerability is reinforced by their long-standing marginalization in the country and the uncertain legal status of many Tatars as formerly deported people, referring to the mass deportations of the 1940s by the Soviet government under Joseph Stalin. Okay. I'm not sure what they look like. I have seen no pictures of them, but it's a group of Muslims, and they weren't given, they weren't recognized as indigenous people by the Ukrainian parliament. You know, so Russia still doesn't recognize their claim, and Ukrainian parliament adopted resolution, but they never actually adopted it, the national legislation on them. So, the situation for those people. Now back to the main story. Russia, which launched its special military operation in Ukraine in February, okay, it was February, has announced it has completed a mobilization drive ordered in September by President Vladimir Putin, saying it had called up 300,000 reservists and more were not needed. Let's listen to that. Putin says he called up 300,000 reservists and said more were not needed. So maybe that's all they need. But Putin has not issued a decree ending the mobilization, raising concern he could restart it without notice. A senior Russian ruling party senator said on Tuesday a decree formally ending the mobilization was not needed. Thousands of Russian men have fled abroad to escape conscription to a conflict which has killed thousands, displaced millions, shaken the global economy, and reopened Cold War-era divisions. Barbarian horde. Just north of Kherson, Russia fired 4 missiles into the Ukrainian port city of Mykolaiv overnight, demolishing half an apartment building. Reuters said saw rescue workers recover the body of an elderly woman from the rubble. So we had other women be killed in one of the Russian fire missile strikes. As rush hour was underway, passerby walked past a 2-story school, the front of which had been torn off by the force of the blast that left a massive crater. This is what barbarian horde does, said Irina Sidon, 48, the school's deputy director, standing in front of the gutted building as workers began sweeping up the rubble. They, the Russians, are descendants of the barbarian horde. They stole our history and how they are trying to steal our culture. Russia fired a huge volley of missiles at Ukrainian cities on Monday in what Putin called retaliation for an attack on Russia's Black Sea fleet at the weekend. Ukraine said it shot most of those missiles down, but some had hit power stations, knocking out electricity and water supplies. That's not all we could have done, Putin said in a televised news conference. Putin has suspended cooperation with the UN-backed program to escort cargo ships carrying grain out of the war zone. The 3-month-old program had lifted a de facto Russian blockade of Ukraine, one of the world's biggest grain producers, and averted a global food crisis. So, I guess so. Putin was cooperating with the UN to help escort cargo ships, carrying grain out of the war zone. And it looks like it lasted for 3 months. But Russia said, "Screw that, we done with it," and we suspended it. Suspension, so that means temporarily suspended. Russia's suspension of cooperation had raised international fears that a food crisis could return, but so far Russia has not restored its blockade. So they haven't actually started the blockade back, so they're still allowing ships to go through. So let's continue with 12 ships able to depart Ukraine on Monday, carrying grain, and 3 more sailing on Tuesday. So they're still going out. So that's pretty good. So looks like the food of the grain, people still be able, countries still be able to get that grain and help keep the food flowing. So that's good. Because us civilians, we ain't part of that mess, man. What y'all got going on? Whether those shipments can continue may depend on whether insurers are still willing to underwrite them. So that's what we have on Russia. We're gonna be, I guess, talking about this a lot. So that's pretty much it for the stories that we have. Again, the major story: 13 shot in 13 were shot in Chicago. But yeah, for this Russian story though, it's just crazy, man. It's very crazy. A lot of stuff happens, seems to be happening. Dollar bills at the stores, some of these gas stations. Nobody has got the numbers yet, so the lottery is still up. So get your money in that. We also have Russia announcing more annexing or trying to order civilians to leave a occupied area in fear of possible dirty bomb activity, which they're claiming is going to be coming from Ukraine area. All right, so let's get it back to the regular. I'm trying to try these graphics I got going on. I forgot I didn't have a video playing, so that effect wasn't going to work. But we'll get it working next time, people. We'll get it working next time. Excuse me on the actually we could probably get it working right now. Let's see if we can get some real quick. All right. But no, we can get some. Haha, gotcha. We got the effect in that people. We'll show you how we do. We'll show you how we do. But no, so the Chicago story was kind of sickening. There's kids in the crowd, so they're come on, people, come on now. Um, so I think that for the Chicago story, we just gotta wait for more information to come out. Who did it? Why? We might not know why eventually, but nonetheless, there's crime happening everywhere. See what that eventually turns into, what happens to it, and whatnot. Um, I think that we're going to get into another story. Look at another story. We're going to figure out exactly. Let's see. Like I said, I think this week and coming next week, because we have the elections coming up. It's going to be a lot of news coming out. A lot of news, good news coming out. You all will like it. I'm going to be liking it. I think all of the debates are over. Are they? I don't know. Hope. I know a lot of big ones have already went by. I've seen one or two of them. Seen highlights from here and there from a few of them. So there's interesting ones out there. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So some of the stories that happened this week, we know Nancy Pelosi's husband's been attacked. So what we're going to do is just look up. We're going to go to YouTube. Or actually no, we'll just go to. We'll just type in YouTube. Yeah, we'll just go to YouTube and we'll just look up. What we're going to do here is just actually look up for video. Now we're going to pick two videos. I don't know if y'all want to hear the audio, so I'll listen to it and just repeat it and tell you. I'll put the videos in a link that I grab, so you can go look at it yourself. All right, here we go. Like I said, sometimes it don't work. This new setup, still getting used to it. But anyways, let's just go into it. I'll put the links down below. I might try to cut that out. If not, just be up there. So we got. Let's see something I ain't seen before. Authorities detail shock attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. I got it all wrong. I kind of want something really short, like 1 or 2 minutes. We're just gonna go briefly over this real quick. Duration. Here we go. Under 4 minutes. Great. I want it to be even shorter than that. Man arrested for attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Let's click on that. This one's from 11 Live. I don't know who they are. Let's see, who else do we have? We have most of these are kind of old. I don't, so we'll just check out this one and see what it says, and then we'll be wrapping this up for today. right, so there you have it. So not much of that story. We're gonna end it right here. Pretty much, she's just going over that husband was attacked. And they're going to be trying to come with new legislation on ways to try to protect politicians more. That's pretty much how we got out of that news. It was a short 1 minute or not even a minute clip, and that was pretty much that. So it's new format. One thing we're gonna be doing, like I said, is picking random news stories. Be fine, read about them, see which ones we want to try to keep up to date on, give my own thoughts on them, and things of that nature. So my thoughts on, if I didn't already, the Chicago 13 shot, which is my thoughts on that is it's tragedy. Hopefully, there's not much information they have on about it, on the suspects and who all the victims were. We do know there's 13 people. They did have say some 14 earlier, but then that got changed to 13 who were shot. Maybe it was 14 people there, but only 13 shot. Well, when 13 were shot, but nonetheless, we still don't know. So the 3 kids were among the people, so 13 total. 3 kids were shot, so and 10 adults. Um, and I don't really know. They haven't, they don't have enough information to explain or say if any of the victims were were actual targets, and everybody else was just collateral. No explanation on that yet. Was everybody with each other, know each other, or just a store, or where was exactly that? Was it just a? So more information will come out on the motives if they actually catch the people if they haven't already, and so they definitely want to try to keep update on that. And also we want to definitely keep on Russian issues going on over there. My thoughts on that is hopefully no dirty bomb goes off, because if that happens, or no weapons of mass destruction of any kind, chemical or whatnot. So any serious thing like that, because if that happens, then it's only gonna make things worse for everybody, as people are gonna be on edge, and other countries are gonna start getting involved, and it's gonna be a mess. So we don't want that, of course. And that's that right there. So we'll look into that further, and obviously all the other stories we're going to figure out how to get these all implemented and brought in. But other than that, this is Talk About It, November 1st, 2022. We might do another video today. We're starting to get more used to this format and start building out more things. You see, I had a little pause in there, figuring things out. Kind of messed up a little bit, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyways, this is Time Up Corner. Talk About It. We're going to talk about it more later. Let's watch this news this week, people. Let's watch this news. And next week. And the rest of this year. And forever, right? Talk about it. We are out.